human design as it's taught, the traditional human design as it's taught, is really a prescription for deconditioning. And so if we go back to traditional human design and we look at the 5 types, and we look at really all types, even the manifestors have a certain amount of weighting in the story of strategy, right? The manifestors have to wait for inner alignment. Generators have to wait for something to respond to. Manifesting generators also have to wait for something to respond to. Projectors have to wait for the recognition and attention. And, reflectors kind of really have waiting built into their big decision-making process. Waiting is not the final step. So I want to share that with you on the front end, but I want to share that with you on the front end with a big cautionary note, because sometimes we want to skip that step and skip the importance of that step. And really what I think about when I think about traditional human design, and especially the parts that Ra taught, was that really what Ra was giving us was a prescription for healing. That most of us, and it sounds like Condi, maybe you have some of this as well, most of us really need a big pause button. That we are so used to that forced action, or following the shoulds, or trying to figure out what's the formula for success, and why does it feel so elusive, and maybe the only way to do it is to push harder, right? And to a certain degree, that's a finite story for all of us. And so the real purpose of the waiting is to get us back connected to our natural, authentic, creative state. And really what I like to think of it as, it gets us back connected to that whispering of the divine within us. And part of it is we forget what that sounds like. We've forgotten what the cadence of source, if you want to call it that, or the inspiration, or your muse, or whatever you want to call it, we forget what that sounds like. And so that waiting actually has a very sacred purpose. And that's a purpose that really is an invitation for us to literally stop. It gets tricky. Like if you're running your own business, it's not like you can wake up in the morning and go, excuse me, I'm done. Right? I get that. I totally get that. But it and that does sort of beg us to maybe reevaluate, well, what is the real purpose of waiting? Is it to wait to respond in things that we've already created that we can't discreate just yet? Kind of, if you can, but you might be in a business where you can't restructure that at this point. But I would say in every area that you can in your life, that finding all the different places where you can push pause is probably why human design found you in the first place. And so, recognizing that your job right now is to heal your burnout. Your job right now is to reconnect to that inner cadence of source inside of you, that whispering of inspiration inside of you. And your job is ultimately to get yourself back into a place where, when you do get those divine whisperings, like when you're in the shower, that seems to be like where it always happens for me. When you're in the shower and you're like, oh, that idea comes through, and you're like, your sacral as a generator is like, dong, oh yeah, that's it, right? And you have that inner knowing because you hear that cadence, and it's not your frenetic mind. It's not the panic part of yourself that's like, I got to prove my value, I got to prove my worth, I got to, that's a different cadence because you've spent some time really pausing and stopping, eating and healing. Then you can kind of go back to trusting that voice again. But oftentimes for us to get back to where we can trust that voice, we have to clear all those places where we've internalized the message that it's not okay for us to be who we are or how we are, or all those places where we've internalized some kind of a formula that maybe doesn't really fit us.